Oh.
Yeah, get your face.
All right, looking in page 12, on page 12 in your textbook, a couple of terms we want to get squared away on. Not going to spend a lot of time on this, but just so you understand the general meaning of these terms. On page 12, you will see the terms microeconomics and macroeconomics. Micro and macro. What that means, microeconomics, we know economics is all about choices, right? So microeconomics means the choices of individual people, individual businesses, all right? Their choices and the ramifications of them. Macroeconomics is more the whole big picture. How everybody, everything, all the participants in the economy work together. The big major statistics like unemployment rate, and inflation rate, and gross domestic product, and
Nope, I'm good.
in college, usually the way it works is there will be a semester of macroeconomics, a semester of microeconomics.
It's already too many.
A lot of times textbooks will be titled one or the other, or textbooks will be divided into two different sections, macro and micro. Ours isn't quite that clear cut, alright, but you do need to know what the distinction between those terms. Any questions on that?
Mm-mm.
Also on page 12, you'll see the term positive economics and normative economics.
Can you teach me how to do terms?
Basically what that means, positive economics, you're dealing with just facts, measurable things. Whereas normative economics, you're dealing with a value judgment or somebody's opinion.
Mm.
So as an example, if we were to say the unemployment rate is 9.8%, well, that's something you can measure. That's positive economics. That is what it is.
Mhm.
All right, if we were to say, however, the unemployment rate is too high at 9.8%, well, now there's a value judgment. There's an opinion that that's too high. That would be normative economics. Everybody see the difference?
Mhm.
Positive, just dealing with measurable facts. Normative, more opinion and value judgments. Alright, yesterday we talked about Carl Menger. What was his big principle?
The paradigm.
Well, he used the diamond water paradox to illustrate his
value.
principle of subjective value. And of course, subjective means the value is not in the object, it's not intrinsic, it's not objective, it's subjective. It's up to the individual, alright? It's up to the person based on the usefulness or utility. And of course, that varies from one person to another. Every decision we have to make, because there's always choices involved, we get an opportunity benefit. That's the satisfaction we receive from our choice. But there's always some regret or some satisfaction that we don't get because we didn't get to choose the second best option. That's called opportunity cost. And to measure satisfaction, economists have created a UTIL. Any questions on subjective value? All right. Moving on to the next principle. Carl Menger showed us the principle of subjective value. He showed us that values are not constant from one person to the next. That was yesterday's whole lesson, subjective value, illustrated by auctions and everything we discussed. William Stanley Jevons, by the way, whole new person, always suspicious of people that go by 3 names.
John
William
Booth.
Stanley Javons. I've heard some other people go by 3 names. John Wilkes Booth,
Called me.
Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah, you gotta be careful about people that go by all 3 names. Never mind.
What's your middle name, Mr. Keeper?
None of your business. Mr. Keeper.
Oh.
Makes sense.
Javon says not only are values not constant from one person to another, he says values are not even constant for a single person. Alright, so what you value, what we're saying is what you value in this moment, you might not value it the same in the next moment. Here's where economics gets slippery, right? Here's where it's all about choices and people are fickle. Not only do different people value different things differently, but even the same person values the same thing differently. His principle is called the principle of diminishing marginal utility. Now that's the term you need to know, but I put in parentheses to help you understand it. I hope it helps me. You can't name it this, but just to help you understand it, I call it the principle of less additional satisfaction. That's what diminishing marginal utility means, in simple words. We'll illustrate. But I found out something yesterday, that Aaron prefers Twix candy. Must say, fine choice. Alright, we got a cookie with a layer of caramel, all covered in chocolate. So it's got the crispy, it's got the creamy, it's got the chewy, all in the same time, right? Nice choice. Aaron, what would you say if I were to tell you that right under, you can't see it, but I can, right here in my podium, I got a big old box of Twix candy bars. Yeah. Look at his chin, sounding good. Now, they're just a little one, they call them the fun size. I never did understand that. What is so much fun about a teeny tiny little candy bar? Now me, I'm a Snickers guy. I don't want no fun size. I want the whole size, and even if sometimes it's like the Circle K, they got the king size. That's what I'm talking about. If it's up to me, it'd be a Snicker loaf. We're talking candy. But anyway, I got some Twix fun size under here.
No.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Wow.
Remember the field trip? I
Blackberry.
got some right here. Now, Aaron, how much do you value one of those? You could go for one right now, I can tell. How much would you
Could,
pay for one of those fun size Twix?
2 cents.
I don't know, about 2 cents, maybe like
50 cents? Fair enough, right? I mean, that's a lot, but he likes them. You can't. Alright, is he overpaying? That's not, it's subjective, isn't it? To him, it's worth 50 cents. You might say 2 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents, whatever, but he says 50, it's subjective. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. That's subjective value, but this is a whole different principle now. Alright, so, here we go, he's gonna pay 50 cents. And I'm gonna give him a Twix candy bar, here you go, just like the field trip. We're pretending, right, we're getting good at this. Alright, so here's the thing though, you gotta eat it right now. Alright, so he unwraps it, he eats it. That's good, wasn't it? How many oodles of satisfaction did you receive from that Twix candy bar?
0.
20? Told you, he likes them.
That's a lot of
He ain't
oodles.
messing around, man, that's good stuff. Alright? Want another one? Yeah, 50 cents. Alright, he gives me the 50 cents. I give him another one. He eats that one. is good, probably not quite as good as the first one,
He's gonna pay.
but still good, right?
He's gonna pay until it adds up to a king size, and his user satisfaction are gonna go away.
Now 15, maybe 15 utils out of that one. You want another one? Yeah, might as well, right? You got 50 cents, I got a whole box of candy bars. Next one might only be 8 utils.
Just buy the box.
Might as well.
Now it's still positive utils, right? It still makes sense for him to buy them, cause he's getting satisfaction from it. But at some point, who knows, I mean, he might really like them. Alright, but at some point, you don't want any more. Right, he bought that one, and he chews it, and he's like, wow. Nah, I didn't really get much out of it, I'm getting kinda tired of it now. And then, well, I'll go for one more, and he eats another one, and he's like, gosh, he's getting to the point where he doesn't ever wanna see another Twix candy bar, right? But look at this. With each one diminishing marginal utility, less additional satisfaction, right? With each one he eats, he gets less satisfaction added to his total than he did on the one before.
Why is that?
Cause Javon's principle of diminishing marginal utility.
I think I'm always happy when I eat a 3 months.
Now, if he stopped here, or even here, it's fine, right? But he kept going, that's really bad news. Because now he's subtracting from his satisfaction. And at some point, he's gonna say, stop, Mr. Kiefer, I don't want any more. Like, what, you run out of money? No, I got plenty of money, but I don't need any more candy bars. And this doesn't make sense. If all we have, think about this, if all we have is yesterday's principle, if all we have is Menger, what Aaron's deciding makes no sense. He values Twix candy bars at 50 cents, doggone it. But now we've added a new principle, diminishing marginal utility. In other words, the values are not constant one person to another. Gage might only pay 10 cents. He's gonna pay 50. That's subjective value. That's Menger, right? We get it. But Javon's is saying, even for a single person, Aaron, he doesn't value it as much as he once did. At this point, he's saying, stop, no, don't want any more. Why not? 5 minutes ago, you valued a candy bar at 50 cents. Now you don't value a candy, you won't even give me 5 cents for one. Why? Diminishing marginal utility. Another way to think of it, I love my truck. My wife says I love my truck more than her. That's not true. That's not true.
What kind of
Close,
truck you got?
but it's not true.
What kind of truck?
But I like to keep it clean. Right now it's pretty dirty. Cause, you know, wasn't that long ago, I was up splashing through the mud in Georgia, and sometimes when I get back from Georgia, I like to leave the mud on the truck for at least a little while. Alright, then clean it up. So I'm getting ready. I think this weekend I'm gonna get it cleaned up. And I'll clean up the inside, and I spray down this tire shine on there and all that. You know, and eventually I'll take it to the car wash. Now, close to my house, there's a car wash. I like it. I enjoy it. It's called the Rocket Shine. Got a cool name, Rocket Shine. And when you go in it, you go through this little thing, and you get a little push screen, and you get to select your car wash from the seated comfort of your car, my truck, and there's a lady then off on the screen talking to you, and she gives you all the options. And you know, for like $6, you can get the basic wash, just wash and rinse. Alright, and then for $10, you get the upgrade. You know, it'll put a little coat of wax on there or whatever, then dry it off with the big blow dryers or whatever. And then for $12, you get even more. It'll clean the wheels, clean the undercarriage. I don't even know what an undercarriage is. All I know is I want mine clean. Alright, so I'm signing up for that. And then for like $15, you get the works, the deluxe car wash. You get everything, hot wax, everything. So I'm going deluxe, $15. Finally my turn, pull up there, get your tire just right. You know what I'm talking about? You've been to these? Now this is not one of them touchless car washes. You seen those? Touch-free? What is up with that? You can't wash nothing without touching it? That's the dumbest idea I ever heard of. Now this one is gonna touch your truck, believe me. You get in there, the guy says, come on, then stop, put it in neutral, sit back and relax. It takes it from here. You don't have to do nothing anymore. Alright, you just sit there, and now it's like a ride at Disney. It's like 4D. I mean, there's stuff going on. There's loud noises. There's a light show. There's green and red and pink and purple lights going all everywhere. And then there's brushes. These big old brushes, you can feel it. The whole truck starts shaking. Right? It's brushing the bugs off the front and the sides. It flops the mirrors in. They got those flexible mirrors on my truck, so it's washing that. Everything is dark. It's scary. It's kind of like you're in a horror movie or something, right? And then, the big soapy suds, and then the green waxy suds, and it all gets rinsed off, and then the fine rinse, and then finally the blow dryers. Heavy duty blow dryers. The windshield wipers are flopping and blowing so hard. I'm always tempted to open my window and just see how hard they're blowing, but I won't. It's just too scary. And you can just see the water blowing off the hood. Now you've been there, right? You've been to places like that? Now the test is, when you finally get out, what does everybody want to know when they go pay money for a car wash? Did it get the car clean? So I'll step out. Step outside, walk around the truck, give it a look over. And the Rocket Shine does a fine job. Does such a good job that I spin around the building, I get in line again, pay my $15 and go again. Would I do that?
No,
Why not?
because it's already done.
No. Why wouldn't I?
You don't value it that much.
Why don't I value it that much?
'Cause
Cause
you're
you
I did a minute ago.
You already had it.
Why don't I value it that much?
Did you not
Cause
always
it's
waste
diminishing
Cause
What?
it's less,
utility.
You gotta waste.
I don't get as much satisfaction. What's the name of that principle?
Diminishing.
Diminishing marginal utility. That, all that stupid story to point out. Now, obviously, I don't, because it's clean. That won't give me any more satisfaction, but it almost doesn't make sense, right? Because if 10 minutes ago I valued this car wash experience for $15, why 10 minutes later wouldn't I value the car wash for $15? Now, we can come up with all the obvious answers. The truck's already clean, but the real answer is diminishing marginal utility. I'm not gonna get anything out of it this time. Now, I would, because I'm a weirdo and I like the 4D ride, right? But the truck's already clean. It's not gonna do us any good. Another way to think of this principle, anybody here have a part-time job? Working somewhere?
I did.
So, Jeremiah, where are you working?
Joey's Custard on the island, Sanibel Island.
Joey's what, custard?
Yeah.
Okay, what do they have you doing there?
Scoop ice cream.
Scooping ice cream.
That's my favorite.
I bet you gotta have like strong wrists and stuff for that. Yeah.
It hurts after a while.
I never scooped ice cream professionally like that. Now, I've eaten a lot of ice cream, but I've never scooped it professionally. Alright, so, if you don't mind my asking, how much they pay you?
10 an hour and we got tips.
Alright, $10 an hour plus tips, but the boss is paying you $10 an hour, right? Tips are on the customers. How many of you at a time are working in any given shift?
Usually like 3 or 4.
Alright, so 3 or 4, so to the boss, that's $30 or $40 for every hour his store's open just on wages, right? Well, if he's willing to pay $10 an hour to have somebody work there scooping ice cream, why doesn't he have 5 or 6 people working? And if he's gonna have 5 or 6, then why doesn't he have 9 or 10 people working at the same time?
Because you can do it with a little amount and not having to waste that much.
Give me a better answer.
Satisfaction.
Give me a better answer.
Diminishing marginal
Diminishing marginal
utility.
utility. So, to the boss, to pay Jeremiah $10 an hour helps him make profit, doesn't it? That's a satisfaction to a business owner, right? Profit. All right, 2 people, he's paying $20 an hour, but still his profits will go up because he can keep customers happy. 3 or 4 people even, $40 an hour, he's still making money. But once he gets to $50 an hour, cutting into his profit. 10 people, $100 an hour, he's not making money. It'd be be losing money, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Alright, so with each, I mean, if he, it almost doesn't make sense. If he values somebody's labor at $10 an hour, why didn't he pay everybody $10 an hour? Because with each employee he hires, there's less additional satisfaction. In other words, less profit for him. So that's kind of the challenge for every business owner, right? Figure out how many employees, how much to pay them to maximize my profit. He could maybe even make his business more efficient if he'd hire 8 people. He'd make the customers more happy, but he wouldn't make as much money. Alright, so there's that perfect spot where you maximize your satisfaction. You start hiring people after that, it diminishes with each one, less additional satisfaction. In a business setting, less additional profit. So there's all kinds of ways where this principle applies. Alright, little heads up. Any questions on that, by the way? Any questions on the principle of subjective value, Carl Menger, or the principle of diminishing marginal utility, William Stanley Jevons, man with 3 names? Any questions? Alright, then little heads up. We're gonna go from chapter 1 to chapter 3. We're gonna skip right over chapter 2. Come back and get it later, just because I like the order of things better that way. To me, it seems to make more sense that way to order it, to learn it in this order. So we're gonna do chapters 1, 3, and 4, and then have a test. And then we'll come back and do chapters 2, 5, and 6, and have our second test. I just think it makes more sense that way, the way the material is presented. So even though we haven't really done it yet, we're gonna sneak peek ahead to chapter 3 a little bit. Actually, no, we're not. We're done for today.